Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Corinna Jasienczyk, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Okay, today I'm reading the December 1st, 2023 edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. On the cover here, we have a weekend worth remembering, which is about the Neepawa Titans Celebrate Family Weekend by Ian Devereaux. The cheering section for the Neepawa Titans last weekend was much louder than usual, and it wasn't just because of the team's recent winning ways. Billet coordinators Tara McCarty and Tammy Dudenhofer put together a family weekend, which featured the parents as well as other family members of the players in attendance. Just over 20 sets of parents, as well as grandparents and siblings, all converged on Neepawa for a fun-filled weekend. It included a celebration of American Thanksgiving at the Neepawa Legion Hall. There was also an organized walking tour of the local shops and restaurants, and then a massive get-together on Friday, November 24th at Boston Pizza. The next morning, the Titans were up early as they made and served a big breakfast to the families at the Legion Hall. Later in the day, Neepawa played their home game against the Winnipeg Blues. With the stands packed with support, Neepawa cruised to a decisive 5-0 victory. After the game, families and players gathered on the ice for pictures to commemorate this special weekend. Tara McCarty and Tammy Dudenhofer told the Banner and Press that it had been an amazing weekend for everyone so far. A super amazing vibe. You see, this is our second year as billet coordinators, and this weekend is extremely important to us because we've had people come in from the Northwest Territories, Alberta, Arizona, all over the map. Basically, every family was able to come together and spend the weekend together, watch a couple of games, and be able to do different activities, which is exciting to see, said McCarty. Dudenhofer added that it's great to be able to showcase to the families our community, the community their kids are living in, and the people that they are spending their time with. The parents are happy to see where their kids are at. Fortunately, the festivities were far from over, as the next day there were 2 buses packed to capacity that headed down to Portage la Prairie for the Titans game against the Terriers. The players then did their part in ensuring it was a great event with a great ending for everyone involved, defeating the Terriers by the score of 5-3. And we have some additional pictures on page 16, which is the back page. The Neepawa Titans Recent Family Weekend, which was organized by billet coordinators Tara McCarty and Tammy Dudenhofer, photo on left, featured an array of activities, including an evening out at Boston Pizza, the above photo, a breakfast at the Legion Hall, far left. Of course, the main event of the weekend featured a pair of games, which Neepawa ended up winning. After the Saturday, November 25th game against the Winnipeg Blues, the players and families converged on the ice for pictures. So there we have that. And on the left here, Neepawa Animal Rescue continues search for a new home by Casper Wehrhahn. A local organization that helps felines find their forever homes is still on the search for their own. Cat's TNR Rescue, a not-for-profit cat rescue formerly located on Gill Drive, is in the midst of moving out of their 2 shelter buildings. Both buildings were being rented by the organization, but notice was given earlier this year that they have been sold, terminating the group's lease. Since receiving the news, Cat's TNR Rescue has been working to move out of their main, larger shelter and their secondary, smaller shelter by the deadlines of December 31st and April 1st of 2024, respectively. According to shelter manager Lila Hildebrand, the search hasn't been without its struggles. We've tried several different options for finding a new building. We've been making phone calls to people who have buildings we think might work, but so far nothing has come up for us, said Hildebrand. And we really do need a building. We have a lot of fosters for our cats while they wait to be adopted. But for any cats that come in injured or that we don't have foster homes for, we really need that shelter. Hildebrand noted that part of the issue is that a building within 1 or 2 miles of Neepawa is required. This would ensure that, in the case of inclement weather, someone from Neepawa would still be able to get to the shelter and care for the animals. This building must also have heat and electricity and fall under the light industrial zone per the town's bylaws. Another problem is that because we are a charitable organization, all of us are volunteers. The only sources of income that we have are from donations and fundraising. Hildebrand explained, there are organizations that support us in many ways, but it's difficult to get grants because grants are not given for operating expenses. Hildebrand added, so that's another issue as well. We can't afford very much rent. If we found a possible shelter building and rent was $1,000 per month, well, we can't afford that. Request for variance. CATS TNR Rescue continues to search for a suitable location. A presentation was also made by the group at the November 21st Public Town Council meeting for the request of a temporary emergency zoning variance for the relocation of their shelters to a non-light industrial zone within Neepawa's town limits. This would provide CATS TNR Rescue with more time to find a long-term home. The organization has since received confirmation from Council that their request will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, as CATS TNR does not have a building in mind at this time. Fosters needed. Until CATS TNR Rescue finds a new home, an intake freeze had been put in place and no new cats will be accepted by the shelter. Currently, there are still 15 cats total that require foster homes. Anyone wishing to assist is asked to contact CATS TNR Rescue via their social media or to contact Adoption Foster Coordinator Carrie Taylor via 204-721-3237. Since CATS TNR Rescue's inception in 2013, the organization has fully vetted and homed over 700 felines. Wow. And we don't want to see anyone go without. Harris Pharmacy leading local toy and food drive by Eon Devereaux. Much like decorating the tree, caroling, and laying out the milk and cookies, Harris Pharmacy helping Santa get ready for the big night has become an annual holiday tradition. The Neepawa-based business is at it again in 2023, as it has started its Christmas toy and food drive. All the new toys collected will be donated to the Salvation Army, or also known as the Neepawa Communities Ministry Center, to distribute to needy kids this season. As well, non-perishable food items are also being accepted. Harris Pharmacy owner and operator Heather Toderick told the Banner and Press that anyone can drop off new toys or food at the store, as there has been a donation bin set up at the front of the store. She added that lending a hand like this is very important to them. And she says, it's really nice to be able to give back to people that need, especially this time of year. We don't want to see anyone go without either food or toys for their children. So it would be really nice to see the community donate and just come together and support everyone. To go along with the donations being collected at the business, Harris Pharmacy is also arranging a drop-off during its sponsorship night for the Neepawa Titans on Tuesday, December 5th. People attending the game are encouraged to bring an item in support of the effort. Toderick noted that during that every little bit helps. I think it's supposed to be doing. Toderick noted that doing that every little bit helps. Anyways, it's not just Neepawa, but everywhere seems to have more requests right now for food hampers and toys for children. People who have never asked before are now having to ask for help. The donation box and a tip tap, which is a wireless payment receiver that allows for instant acceptance of a donation, will be in place at the Yellowhead for the game. And then on the bottom here for the ad, it's light up this holiday season and add a warm glow by helping out the Neepawa District Palliative Care Program. They're suggesting that you contribute $5 in memory of a loved one. and your memorial will be viewed in the window of Harris Pharmacy. The memory tree will be located at Mountain Avenue and Davidson Street, downtown Neepawa. You can drop off your donation at one of these Neepawa locations: Neepawa Hospital, It's Time Fashion and Gifts, the Neepawa Banner and Press, Home Hardware, Neepawa Pharmacy, and Harris Pharmacy. Okay, looking back. 1973, farewell to a well-known Neepawa store, and the picture here is the shell of what was once the C.A. Clare store, which was located at the back of the Royal Cafe. It was demolished in early December of 1973 to make way for an expansion to Williams Tomboy store. Okay, 125 years ago, Saturday, December 3rd, 1898, this appeared in the paper. Candidates for municipal office are scarce. School did not open in the new central building on Wednesday as expected. The classes taught by Mr. Motley, Miss Malley, and Miss Perry assemble in the new building on Monday. 100 years ago, Tuesday, December 4th, 1923, there was this in the paper. For Bernie, the ratepayers of this school district, after a good deal of discussions as to ways and means, they decided to close one school as there are not enough children attending the public school to warrant the keeping of 2 teachers, and expenses had to be cut in half. Miss Morphy of the Telephone Exchange left last Friday for Roblin. Before departure, her associates gathered around the festive board at Fairfields and testified to her good qualities both on and off duty. The severance of his connection with Keir's store by Fred Dalton after a long term of faithful and efficient service was not allowed to pass unnoticed by other members of the staff. On the eve of his departure for Prince Albert, they presented him with a platinum set pearl tie pin, which was gracefully accepted and will be cherished as a remembrance of pleasant associations. 75 years ago, Thursday, December 2nd, 1948. Neepawa is the richer by $1,655.21 in cash as a result of Dominion provincial agreements by which the Dominion returned $5,439,675.58 to the province on relied costs met by the province and municipalities during the Depression. The provincial government in turn undertook to pass half of the federal funds back to the municipalities on a pro rata basis. Neepawa's share of the direct relief debt adjustment had been calculated at 14.3% rounded of $11,599.60 or $1,655.21. 50 years ago, Thursday, December 6th, 1973. Kelwood. A community meeting was held in the Kelwood curling rink on Wednesday, November 27th, with Sid Wrightson as chairman for the purpose of discussing the formation of a community recreation group. A group from the Western School Division at Morden, Manitoba, faced the winter breezes and icy roads to meet with the Neepawa Community School Committee on November 28th at NACI. The group, headed by Larry McCready, superintendent and former principal at Gladstone, were interested in understanding the working of the community school in order to establish a similar program in their division. The name James Arthur Clare is closely associated with early merchandising of Neepawa. His association with the town dates back to about 1882. At the start of his local career, he was partner in the firm of Clare Bronswell and ran a store in a log building on Hamilton Street, across from the present land titles office. Then Clare had a store of his own, where the Royal Cafe is today. In 1901, he built a beautiful new store on the southwest corner of Hamilton and Mountain. The back portion of what was evidently the former store was kept for a storage room. The store was destroyed by fire in about 1948 and rebuilt into a modern department store. It is now the home of Williams Tomboy. After Clare built his new store, he used the back of the old store for a storeroom for sugar and flour. That section of the former J.A. Clare store is being demolished, and Reg Williams is planning to build a new meat department for the extension of the grocery store. And Coming to the present day, it's now called Fresh Mart. 20 years ago, Monday, December 1st, 2003, workers at Neepawa's Prairie Forest Products were back on the job Friday, ending a contract dispute that started November 4th. International Wood and Allied Workers Union spokesman Chris Parlow said the plant's employees chose to ratify the new agreement, even though the company never agreed to the workers' key demand. The bottom here in the middle, NACTV, highlights of the week that's on, that you can watch on NACTV, is the Neepawa Parade of Lights. It will be shown on December 4th at 2 p.m., December 5th at 1:20 p.m., and December 7th at 1:15 p.m., and there's a couple more. Also, Coffee Chat with Rita Friesen about Christmas traditions. The first showing will be at December 5th at 12:25 p.m., and the second will be at December 6th, 8 p.m., and there's also a couple more there as well. You can check the schedule and find out if you can't see it on December 5th or 6th. And the NACTV bingo jackpot's now over 17,000 for one of the pots, of which we have 3. Okay, we've got some perspectives here. In the comic, Tundra, we have an igloo that's half gone on top, and one of the fellows is saying, "Worst case of thermites I've ever seen." Okay, a piece by Ken Waddell, right in the center. If only the bosses would listen. Unfortunately, my wife and I have been hospitalized many times in the past 5 years. With stays in 4 Manitoba hospitals and 3 US ones, we have a wide range of experience. It has been mostly good experience, and we received good care. We have met and interacted with dozens of medical staff, and for the most part, the care has been very good. There are hundreds of extremely dedicated staff, and quite frankly, I can't believe how they do all that they do. I dedicate this column to them in the faint hope someone, somewhere, will listen to these suggestions to help us all along the road to better, faster healthcare. There are 2 big differences between the Canadian and US hospitals. In the US, there's almost no waiting, almost none. In Canada, you can wait many hours for care, even in an emergency room. You can wait for months for surgery, even fairly urgent surgery. In Canada, a lot of healthcare is taxpayer funded, but in the US, you better have health insurance. I was 2 hours in an ER in Kentucky, an hour in ER in Missouri, and 5 days, including an ambulance trip in Kansas City. My insurance company is on the hook for around $60,000 for those 3 episodes. We have observed a number of things that could be improved in Canada, and it could even save money. Did you know that it's not uncommon to wait 3 days for an ambulance to do an interfacility non-emergency transfer? That doesn't make a lot of sense, as hospital staff spend a lot of time during those 3 days to get their transfer patient into the waiting list. And if the transfers were quicker, the patient could be treated days earlier. The system needs more EMTs and more ambulances. The capacity of CAT scans and MRIs are always backlogged at Brandon Hospital, but they're now getting some done on weekends. But those machines don't get tired. They could run 24/7. More staff are needed. Cleanliness in hospitals is essential. Neepawa is pretty clean, so is Brandon. The US ones I saw seemed pretty good. St. Boniface was not very clean. In the evaluation form, I politely pointed out that it wasn't very clean, and although they assure you they will respond to your online evaluation, they never did. Across all hospitals, the food wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Every hospital we have been in, the convalescent menu was pretty devastating. I learned as a child from my mother that when you are sick, you start back onto food intake slowly and carefully. Apparently today's hospitals either don't believe in that or feel they know better than my mom. When we were sick, we were served boiled raw milk just to be safe that no bacteria got fed back into us. We were served bread soaked in milk with a little brown sugar. Then we got a soft-boiled egg mixed with chopped up white bread. We would move on to mashed potatoes and maybe some vegetables. Today's hospitals offer you water, and if that works, then clear fluids, which usually means tea, coffee, juice, and Jell-O. So far, so good. but the next meals can be full breakfast, lunch, and supper. Our personal experience to this too early full menu feeding has ranged from violent nausea to a bowel condition called ileus, I-L-E-U-S. The early onset heavy food caused me a very scary second week in hospital about 4 years ago. It was scary. And lastly, all problems in healthcare could be at least somewhat alleviated if the administration, political parties, and Manitoba Health would just listen to the workers. I know prominent doctors who haven't even been asked how to improve healthcare. If they won't take time to listen to doctors, what hope have the nurses, aides, dietary, and maintenance people got? Administration, political parties, and Manitoba Health are missing out on the opportunity of a lifetime by neglecting to listen to the frontline workers. I haven't decided yet if that neglect is arrogance or stupidity, but there aren't many other choices. Homebodies by Rita Friesen. It's here! Not certain how you heard those two opening words. Did you say it with excitement, dread, or fear? Well, I said it with excitement. We've used the phrase for so many occasions. The birth of a child or the arrival of a long-awaited event, that's the excitement. The event that we have not wanted, though planned for. Or Monday morning dread, the eerie, horror movie music that sends shivers down our spines, and often uttered in a sing-songy lilt, fear. As I relax in my very comfortable home, I use the expression with all three intonations. It's here. The tree is up, some decorations on it. I may have exaggerated minimalism this year. The holiday music is playing, and there is a never-ending supply of Christmas movies to watch. Same plot, few twists, and many of the same characters. Easy watching at the best. It's here. The Christmas baking and chocolates and gatherings. My sister, the younger, was wonderfully kind and provided me with a square of Christmas cake. I confess I really like fruit cake. I also confess that I have begun the nibbling, one small slice at a time, often with a wedge of cheese. And before you judge, that's supper. She has challenged me to have a portion left to share with family for the festive gatherings. There may be a portion left, I replied defensively. It's here. For many of us, this is another first, a first Christmas after the death of one we loved and who loved us. That in itself is a wonderful gift. And to face this holiday and all of the holidays after this, never mind missing them every single day, is often a sense of dread. It's here. The time some of us feel afresh the pain of estranged family members, the places that are vacant at the table. For some, it is an awareness that family gatherings are a time of stress and anguish, interactions that are less than kind. And for some of us, there's a dread associated with finances and the economy. What we would like to give those we love versus what reality dictates we give. It's a juggling of the demands on our time and our resources. How many places, events, services can anyone attend and still enjoy? Here I lean into my philosophy of loving my loved ones every day, trying to be sensitive and responsive to their needs throughout the year, not waiting for an occasion to bless them, and loving every moment they spend with me, trying to not to long for or guilt them into more. And then there is, it's here, in the spooky way. That is part of my holiday spirit as well. With the wonder of spiritual Christmas, how has the message gotten so very lost? How have the trapping and dressing of Christmas dimmed the Bethlehem story? How many children can sing Frosty the Snowman, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and a dozen other lightweight songs, and not know Away in a Manger or Silent Night? Name all the reindeer, and not know Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus? I will focus on the first, the exuberant anticipation of a significant event. It's here. Gifts That Keep on Giving, Part 1 by Neil Stroktion. Those who know me well know that I am not a fan of big box stores. I will patronize them if and when I must, but I want to get into the store, get what I want, and then leave as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, these days, that is becoming increasingly difficult, and as the Christmas approaches and last-minute shoppers try to find gifts for those they love, these stores will turn into human equivalents of a zoo full of occupants roaming at large. Tension levels in these stores are high at the best of times. They are even higher during the holidays. So here are some gifts you can give yourself and other shoppers that will reduce tension levels and make holiday shopping a pleasant experience for yourself, other shoppers, and the store's staff. First time. Instead of trying to get everything done in an hour, plan on taking 2 or 3 hours, depending on how many people you need to shop for. Take time to look around, to consider options, and make purchases that won't empty your bank accounts or max out your credit cards. Give yourself the time you need to make wise gift selections. Second, courtesy. Treat others the way you would like them to treat you. This is especially important when dealing with staff. Most stores will hire additional part-time staff for the holiday season, but they will not be as familiar with the store's layout as regular staff and may not be able to direct you to the exact spot where you can find the things you want. Give them a break. They are doing as good as they can. Thank them for their help and wish them a good day. Third, a good attitude. Don't go around looking like you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, even though you might be. Let God handle the problems you can't solve. Focus on the things you need to do today. Make a list if you think you'll forget something, and check off items as they are completed. You'll be tired as you leave for home, but if you choose to do some last-minute shopping, as often happens for all of us, and people you meet ask how your day went, you can tell them that it was a productive day, and your positive attitude may unleash the same attitude in them. Finally, extend holiday greetings to others. A generic greeting like Happy Holidays is always in order. Personally, because I celebrate Christmas, I wish people a Merry Christmas. In cases where I know people choose not to celebrate Christmas, I wish them a restful time away from work and good times with family and friends. In public settings like stores or offices where people initiate the greeting, I will respond with the same greeting they share with me. How we word our greetings isn't as important as letting people know that we wish them a happy holiday season and all the best in the year ahead. There are many other things we can do to help make this holiday season happy for those whom we have come in contact. Which of these items will go on your list? What habits might you add that aren't on this list? Pick at least 2 and start practicing them today. You might be amazed at the impact your actions will have on those you meet, and how much happier your holiday season and theirs will be. Gladstone Cattle Market Report by Tyler Slawinsky, Gladstone Auction Mark. Bouncing over the ruts that were made prior to the hard frost is almost as disappointing as when the cattle market becomes under pressure. Cattle futures were hit hard late last week along with the first trading day of this week. Thankfully, they have recovered somewhat of what was lost throughout today. The feeder market was definitely spotty. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you'd like to check this out, I guess you can check it out. I'll skip some of it. The market this week was still under pressure in certain spots. The futures haven't been very stable. The outlook looks much better further out, which gives the lighter cattle more strength on the market. Believe it or not, we are still seeing a fair amount of volume pressure across the prairies. Some of the peak prices we have seen over the weeks may have softened somewhat, but the overall averages are still very strong, if not stronger in spots. Finding pen space, financing at new levels, or coordinating trucks will all be playing factors on the market moving into the weeks ahead. All classes of cattle sold well. Plainer type cattle are still being discounted. And there's the feeder market values there. And now I'm turning the page. Okay, Out of Helen's Kitchen by Helen Drysdale, muffins. Who doesn't love a warm muffin fresh from the oven? There are so many incredible flavor combinations that you can never get tired of eating muffins. The name muffin was first found in print in 1703, spelled muffin, possibly derived from the Low German word muffin, the plural of muffy, meaning a small cake. During Victorian times in England, before most houses had home ovens, muffin men sold muffins door to door. This led to the nursery rhyme, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" which dates back to around 1820. The muffin men's muffins were English muffins, not the muffins we know today. Muffin making tips. Always make muffins by hand, never use a mixer. The more you mix, the tougher the muffin, so use a light touch. Using 2 bowls, combine your dry ingredients in one bowl and your wet ingredients in another. Add the liquid ingredients to the dry and mix only until the batter comes together. Do not overmix. Many recipes call for baking the muffins at 375, but I prefer to bake mine at 350 as this creates a moisture muffin. Most muffin recipes are usually made with vegetable oil. This makes them softer and less dense than a cupcake made from butter-based cake batter. Let baked muffins cool in pan for about 5 minutes. This allows the still hot and delicate structure to firm up before being transferred to racks. Then there's a couple of recipes there if you'd like to try them out. Neepawa Community Ministries receives generous donation, prepares for Christmas program by Casper Werhan. The NCMC received a well-timed and much appreciated donation recently. As was pictured in the November 24th edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press, the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute's Hope Group Food Drive brought in 510 bags of food, as well as monetary donations. Altogether, Community Ministries Director Amanda Nightingale approximated that it all totaled to about 3,900 pounds of food. She says, "It was fantastic. It really helped stock our shelves because they were quite empty. We were quite grateful for the timing of the food drive and all of the hard work that goes into organizing it every year for us." Nightingale noted that this is sometimes a time of year where stocks normally get a little low. However, an increase in service use has also been observed over the past year. We're actually up 38% over last year's food bank use. So we are, on average, serving about 50 to 55 families a month, where last year we were serving 40 to 45, she explained. Every year it seems to get a little more definitely. There are a lot of people out there struggling and seeking help, which is what we are here for. Nightingale added, "We're seeing similar numbers across what Food Banks Canada or Harvest Manitoba have reported. So it's similar right across the province with those types of trends that we are seeing. The types of families that we're seeing, the types of clients we're seeing, and the struggles everybody is dealing with." High inflation is reported to be a major factor in these usage increases, with other factors such as individuals not getting enough work hours, individuals having difficulties finding work, and housing costs all playing a factor as well. Anytime that we're asking for food, hunger isn't something that just goes away in this community. It's not just a once-a-year thing, said Nightingale. People associate hard times with struggling at Christmas, but the year is there year-round. That's why, while the hamper program takes place each year, the food bank also remains open for service throughout December. More choice for families. However, the annual Christmas hamper service is still a well-needed supplement. The Neepawa Community Ministries Center is expecting to potentially see the same increase in use as the food bank has. As such, Nightingale noted that any donations in relation to the holiday campaign are well appreciated. Similar to last year, the hampers for this year will include gift cards and new unwrapped toys. Families receiving hampers will be able to choose what store their gift card will be for so that they can select the food for their meals, and will also be able to pick out the toy or toys for their child or children to better cater to their interests. "We're giving a lot of choice to families," said Nightingale. She adds, "If folks are interested in donating a new unwrapped toy, we definitely need those. Last year we had about 143 kids under the age of 12 that we assisted, and we're looking at the same number or more." Donation bins for toys can be found around town at locations such as Hidden Hollow, Home Hardware, Red Apple, Harris Pharmacy, and the Dollar Store. The NCMC is looking for infant or toddler toys and toys for those in the age range of 8 to 12. Family games and puzzles and all those great things are much appreciated as well. Books, arts and crafts, and all those good things, said Nightingale. Further details in regards to what donations the NCMC is looking for can be found on its social media. The Neepawa farmers will also be doing toy drives on December 3rd and 5th, with other opportunities to give being available on December 4th when the holiday train comes into town. Kettle stands donation bins for non-perishable food items will be on location during the holiday train's visit. And I'm just going to continue on to the next page and read the other one later because it still has to do with the NCMC. They kick off their 2023 kettle campaign. And here we see Amanda Nightingale, director for the Neepawa Community Ministries Center, posing with a pair of coin boxes and a kettle. The bells began ringing this past weekend. Were you listening? They weren't attached to any sleighs, as the song goes, but they were attached to a kettle. The Neepawa Community Ministries Center, also known as the Salvation Army, is now in the midst of its annual kettle campaign, which runs until December 22nd. This annual campaign is the NCMC's major fundraiser and is used to offset the costs of its Christmas hamper program, one of its major annual services to Neepawa and area. Last year alone, we assisted 140 families just in the Neepawa area and another 27 families in the Gladstone-Plumas area through the hamper program. So definitely a shortfall. The cost of those hampers was well over $15,000, and last year we only raised just short of $10,000. The kettle campaign and the community support remains ever important as the trend of increased usage for the NCMC's services continues. Nightingale shared that there was a 38% increase in food bank usage from last year, meaning that is now serving on average 50 to 55 families per month as opposed to 40 to 45. The same increase is expected to potentially be seen in the Christmas hamper program as well. If we do see that increase, we're going to need a lot more money. There's going to be much more of a shortfall, said Nightingale. So we're just hoping that people can help us by donating time and working a kettle. And thank you to anyone who is able to give us a donation. Big or small, it's always appreciated. Those donations stay in our communities. If you see a kettle stand, a coin box, or one of our counter Kit Kat machines, all of that money comes directly to the Salvation Army here and supports the Christmas campaign, or one of our other family services that we offer as well. As of November 24th, approximately half of the kettle campaign shifts have been filled, with 80 shifts still needing to be filled. Anyone wishing to get involved by lending a helping hand is asked to either sign up online via the NCMC's social media, where a sign-up link has been posted, or to contact the NCMC directly via phone or drop-in. Kettle campaign shifts range from 1 to 2 hours, depending whether it is located outdoors or indoors. That would be true. Good thing we're having nice weather right now. Okay, abandoned Manitoba author to visit Neepawa. It was a submission article. It's by the Margaret Lawrence Home Committee. The Margaret Lawrence Home Committee is very pleased to be welcoming Gordon Goldsborough, author of the Abandoned Manitoba books and regular Sunday morning guest on CBC Radio, back to Neepawa this coming Thursday, December 7th at 7 p.m. in the Neepawa Public Library. Anyone who attended his last presentation in Neepawa in the fall of 2019 will remember the engaging slideshow and fascinating stories of forgotten places across Manitoba's geography and history. Now, with a third beautifully illustrated coffee table book in print and available for sale at this event, Goldsborough will once again regale his audience with pictures and stories of our often forgotten past. Goldsborough, the head researcher, webmaster, and past president of the Manitoba Historical Society and production coordinator and pageant editor of Prairie History magazine, has been mapping historic sites all over Manitoba, including schools, churches, stores, homes, grain elevators, military bases, and more for over 15 years. His series, Abandoned Manitoba, on the CBC Weekend Morning Show has been running since mid-2015. Besides his historical interests, Goldsborough is a member of the Department of Biological Sciences at the University of Manitoba, where he is a water quality specialist concerned with the impacts of humans on wetlands and lakes. Admission to this event is free of charge, but donations to the Margaret Lawrence Home will be gratefully accepted. Coffee and light refreshments will be provided. Don't miss this informative and enjoyable evening, December 7th, 7 p.m. Carberry Mural, a step towards reconciliation. And the picture shows a mural depicting the Treaty No. 1 flag in Carberry. Nova McPherson Casson was born in Brandon, and her family moved to the Carberry Sandhills area in 1981. From a young age, Nova began making art and experimenting with a wide variety of mediums. She grew up in a family of avid outdoor enthusiasts, leading her to a lifelong love of nature. Nova has led the David Suzuki Butterfly Way project as a butterfly ranger, planting several native gardens in town and educating the community about pollinator gardens. She studied at the University of Manitoba and obtained her Bachelor of Fine Art honors degree. Participating in many group art shows, including juried shows and several solo exhibitions throughout Manitoba. In 2011, Nova returned to Carberry to raise 2 daughters and explore how her art could benefit her community. In 2020, Nova felt that she could use her art to express how she was feeling about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission findings. In collaboration with the Carberry Plains Art Council and Treaty 1 Nation, she proposed a mural project to embrace land acknowledgement, a small acknowledgement that other people lived here before Europeans settled in the area, that the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and Neepawa Cree were the original peoples of the present-day southern Manitoba. Our area was a vital trade and gathering site. Nova felt that the Treaty No. 1 flag would be a visual representation of land acknowledgement. Treaty No. 1 is composed of the 7 First Nations, who are the signatories to the first of the numbered treaties, originally signed on August 3, 1871, at Lower Fort Garry after several days of discussions and ceremonies. Nova feels that the Treaty No. 1 mural on the exterior of the historical Old Town Hall on Main Street, Carberry, is a beginning step in education and historically significant. A visual representation and a permanent symbolism to begin the conversation on reconciliation. Each design element of the flag has a significant meaning. Yellow represents as long as the sun shines. The green, the grass grows. The blue, and the rivers flow. Red represents a circle of life and the red people, Indigenous. And the yellow triangles represent the 7 First Nations in Treaty No. 1. Altogether, represents the signing of the treaties and how long the treaties will last. Nova says, making art gives me a way to revisit moments, places, people, and feelings that I wish to further explore and experience in different ways. The work represents my time spent experimenting with various techniques and media while working with imagery and ideas that have personal meaning. In my more recent work, I've become fascinated by and often incorporate representations of various types of lines that cross and pattern the landscape or viewpoint. I think about how they break up our sight lines and maybe enhance or interfere with our perspectives. I hope the audience can find a connection to my work in their own way. In partnership with Treaty 1 Nation, this mural was proudly made possible by the Carberry Plains Arts Council, funded by grants and Riley's Home Hardware, supported by the town of Carberry and the REM of North Cyprus Langford, installed in 2023 with assistance from youth volunteers. ER closures and population increases driving numbers. Neepawa Emergency Room has doubled usage since 2021 by Ken Waddell. The new regional hospital under construction at Neepawa is by all outward appearances making great progress. But new hospital or not, Neepawa's existing health center has become a regional center a few years ahead of the opening of the new one. Neepawa's ER is often very full, as is now staffed by a rotation of doctors on a 24/7 basis. Some are local doctors and some come in from other areas. With the obvious increase in emergency department patient visits to Neepawa Health Center, the Neepawa Banner and Press inquired of Prairie Mountain Regional Health about what the actual numbers are for the past few years. This is what we were told about patient numbers at the Neepawa Emergency Room. In 2020 to 2021, it was 5,761. Next year, 6,426. After that, 8,894. And then the partial year from 2023 to 2024, April to September, was 5,252. According, I don't know where the star is, but I'm reading the star now. According to a PMRHA source, some factors that are influencing the increases over the last few years include a growing population in the area combined with emergency department operational decreases in nearby Minnedosa. Based on the 2023-24 stats for the first 6 months, and if the pace stays the same, this year could hit 10,500 patient visits at Neepawa Health Center. That's almost 29 per day. When one looks at the catchment area that Neepawa now finds itself in the middle of, it's not surprising to see Neepawa ER visits increase. Neepawa has always been a hub or center for the area, intersected by Highway 5 and Highway 16. It's been that way since those highways were ox cart trails for European settlers in the 1800s, and for First Nations people before that. If one looks at Highway 5, Neepawa is the only ER between Killarney and St. Rose, a distance of about 155 miles. Looking at Highway 16, Neepawa has the only full-time ER between Portage la Prairie and Russell, a distance of 143 miles. Looking at it another way, there used to be ER services at Glenborough, Carberry, Gladstone, McCreary, and Shoal Lake. Except for staffed ER departments like Neepawa, Verdon, Russell, Swan River, Dauphin, and Brannan, the others may or may not have ER services from time to time. The link below shows updates as they occur, and it's Prairie Mount. If you go to Prairie Mountain Health, you should be able to find it. It's emergency department schedules. Above in this article, PMRJ says the increase at Neepawa is partly due to the increase in population, which has increased from 3,400 up to 6,000, and the operational decreases at Minnedosa. It might run a lot deeper than that when you consider that Neepawa is serving an area that was once served by 6 or more emergency rooms. So for the pictures here, the old and the new, Neepawa's current hospital and emergency room is loaded to capacity at times. The new hospital, which is in the top photo, and to the right, may see up to 17 doctors and is scheduled to have 12 examination rooms in the ER. Christmas in Carberry is a small town festival by Jolene Balcianis, a local journalism initiative. Friday, December 1st, will kick off Carberry's annual Moonlight Madness. Last year, our farmers market decided to host a Christmas pop-up market. The evening was so well attended and enjoyed by all that organizers decided to make this an annual event. Many people commented how this event brings back nostalgia and childhood memories of our vibrant downtown. The evening begins at 5:45 p.m. with the Carberry Area Community Foundation Memory Tree Lighting Ceremony. Special guests Becky and Gerald Nicolason and Acadia Choir to perform Christmas music. Complimentary hot chocolate and cookies with opening words by Pastor Will Feldbush. The event continues until 9 p.m. with businesses staying open late with holiday sales. The Christmas market with 25 local vendors will be set up at the Carberry Plains Library and Seniors Drop-In Center. McCain's will be joining us this year with a giveaway. Local entertainer Shannon Downey will be performing at the library, and the United Church Choir will be caroling around a bonfire. Santa has us on his busy schedule to stop in for a visit. The festivities continue on Saturday with Hockey Day at the rink with a pancake breakfast from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Games start at 9 a.m. with a progressive 50-50 and prizes. Our annual Santa Claus Parade begins at 1 p.m. After the parade, Santa will be available at the Rec Center for photos by Jilly Bean Photography. An afternoon of Christmas music and crafts provided by the Carberry Plains Arts Council in the curling side of the rec room. Ending our community Christmas celebrations is our annual Carberry North Cypress Langford Fire and Rescue Fireman's Ball with entertainment by Hicktown. Now that sounds exciting. And note here for the Neepawa Banner and Press, note our early holiday deadlines. December 22nd paper, deadlines 12 noon Friday. December 15th. For the December 29th paper, the deadline will be 12 noon Monday, December 18th. Neepawa COPP receives provincial recognition. Joan Newman Wright from the Manitoba COP Provincial Board presented the award to Lois McKenchie and her son Matthew. Neepawa's COP, or Citizens on Patrol program, received recognition from the Provincial Citizens on Patrol Board in Winnipeg on October 21st, 2023. Our former Neepawa COP coordinator for over 10 years, Clint McKenchie, who recently passed away in July of 2023, was honored and received recognition with an award for his years of service on the Neepawa COP, as well as his work on the Provincial COP Board. The award was the COP Member Outstanding Service Award. Clint volunteered countless hours in keeping his community safe. He spent his last 10 years as the Neepawa COP coordinator and has assisted many provincial COP programs get started. He volunteered on the Provincial COP Board as a regional representative for many years. Putting their puzzling skills to the test by Casper Voerhan. Arts Forward had a full house this past Saturday. A total of 22 teams of eager competitors engaged in a puzzle competition that day. hosted in partnership between Hidden Hollow and Arts Forward with a sponsorship from Ravensburger. The teams came from all over the area, including Brandon, Carberry, Minnedosa, Polonia, and more. Teams were split into different competitive categories based on their size, with 12 being teams of 2 and the other 10 being family groups of 3 to 4, and worked their puzzling skills to the max. 3 teams finished their 500-piece puzzles within the 2-hour allotment and are as follows. The Friesen family, a team of 4 from Riding Mountain, Vanden Man, a duo from Morden, and the Mad Puzzlers, a duo from Minnedosa. Prizes were $100 in Ravensburger products, $50 for second place, and $25 for third place. All competing teams also got to take home their 500-piece puzzles. One of the 22 teams of puzzlers carefully works together to put all their pieces together in this picture here. And the bottom here we have local doctor umpires National Curling Championship. Dr. Papanese of Valley Optical in Neepawa and Minnedosa was part of a large curling umpire team last week. He was selected to umpire the Everest Curling Club Championship, a national level club curling event in Winnipeg. Dr. Papanese is pictured third from the right and is accompanied by his fellow umpires. On to some sports. Neepawa Titans on a tear. Win 2 straight games over weekend, 5 of their last 6 by Ian Devereaux. The Neepawa Titans' recent hot streak has them moving up in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League standings at a surprising pace. The team has won 5 of their last 6 games as of the November 29th publication deadline, which has propelled them into 4th place in the Western Division. After trailing as much as 6 points behind the Wayway-Sikapo Wolverines in the standings less than 2 weeks ago, Neepawa have now sped past Wayway and claimed control of the final playoff position. The most recent success for the Titans came over the weekend as they blanked the Winnipeg Blues at home on Sunday, November 25th, 5-0. Casey Kokiat made 36 saves and goal for Neepawa and picked up his 2nd shutout and 5th win of the season. Speaking with the Banner and Press, he noted that he has started to catch up to the pace of Junior A hockey in this, his first year with Neepawa. The pace settles down after you play a few games, but also the defense and penalty kill has just been great lately. It makes my job easier out there, said Coach K. I've been skating with Titans goaltender coach Devin Fordyce in practice, and he has really helped my game transfer from under 18 to this next level. Following the win over Winnipeg, the Titans traveled to Portage la Prairie to take on the Terriers, who have been a perennial problem for Neepawa for years. This season, however, has seen a complete 180-degree turn on that narrative, with the Titans winning 5-3. This victory is also Neepawa's 2nd of the year over the Terriers as they bested Portage back in September. As for the Sunday evening game in Portage, 5 different players scored for the Titans. Well, Mason LeBreau picked up his 5th win of the year, stopping 38 of 41 shots in the Neepawa net. Head coach and general manager Ken Pearson said the team's attention to detail out there on the ice has really improved and it's paying dividends. Pearson states, the guys have been focused the last little while. We're just trying to bank as many points in the standings as we can before Christmas and put ourselves in a good spot heading into the new year. They're coming to the rink every day and they're coming in prepared. After a midweek game in Verdun versus the Oil Capitals, played just after the deadline, the Titans return home on Saturday, December 2nd, for a game against the Winnipeg Freeze. After that, they take on the Wayway-Sikapo Wolverines for a pair of home games on Tuesday, December 5th and Friday, December 8th. Start time for all those games is set for 7:30 p.m. Carter McLeod named one of the MJHL Stars of the Week by Ian Devereaux. For the 2nd week in a row, a Neepawa Titan is being lauded for their standout effort on the ice, as Carter McLeod has been named one of the MJHL Stars of the Week. McLeod put up some excellent numbers in 3 games last week, as he picked up 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists, which helped Neepawa to win 2 of those 3 games. After generating an assist in a 1-goal loss to the Nighthawks midweek, McLeod scored a pair of goals in a 5-0 victory over the Winnipeg Blues on Saturday, November 25th. The next night in Portage la Prairie, he'd pick up another goal and an assist McLeod said he's pleased with his game as of late, but was quick to point out that it's the team's collective play that has really come around. We've been focused the last little while. We're trying to bank as many points in the standings as we can, and on any given night, we have someone different stepping up in a big way. We're all contributing to what's happening right now. It's not just one guy, not just one player. McLeod currently leads the Titans in scoring at his point-per-game pace with the 11 goals and 13 assists in 24 games. In last week's league award announcement, Cody Gudnason was recognized. The other award winners for this MJHL Stars of the Week, presented by Original 16, were Niverville Nighthawks goaltender Raiden Legal, who had a pair of wins last week and a 0.951 save percentage. Forward Jamie Fouche of Steinbach was also recognized as he collected 4 goals in 2 games for the league leading Pistons. And we have a picture of the Titans forward, Carter McLeod. And up at the top, Titans goaltender, KC, which I can't pronounce his name, picked up his second shutout of the year with a 36 save effort in Neepawa's 5-0 win over the Winnipeg Blues on Saturday, November 25th. And over to the right-hand side here, Neepawa Tigers Hockey Hope Group Help Grab and Go Breakfast Program. It's a picture here, and the caption says, on Friday, November 10th, the Neepawa Tigers hockey team, along with the NACI Hope Group, held a fundraiser at the Tigers game. The Tigers donated the gate and 50-50, and the Hope Group ran a puck toss as well as some community donations. They were able to raise $1,400 to help support the NACI Grab and Go Breakfast Program. A wild night in Neepawa. Results from around the Tiger Hills Hockey League. The 3-goal night from Braden Nicole would have, in and of itself, been enough for the McGregor Wild to win over the Neepawa Farmers on Friday, November 24th at the Yellowhead Center. Nicole's teammates did chip in, though, with another trio of goals to make sure McGregor left town with a huge 6-2 win. Justin Minoletti, Braden Klippenstein, and Tyson Last had the other goals for the Wild, while Kyle McDonald and Brett Lewandowski answered back for the Farmers. The win put McGregor into a tie for 4th place with Neepawa in the Tiger Hills Hockey League's East Division. Both clubs have 6 points in the standings, though the Wild still have 1 game in hand on the schedule. Neepawa next has a pair of games, first in Minnedosa versus the Bombers on Saturday, December 2nd. Start time at Sunrise Credit Union Place is set for 7:30 p.m. The Farmers follow that with a home game on December 3rd against the Verdant Oil Kings. Opening face-off at Yellowhead Center is scheduled 6:30 p.m. Carberry bested by Deloraine. It was a rough Saturday night for the Carberry Plainsmen, following 6-2 to the Deloraine Royals. Well, the Plainsmen scored the first goal of the game as Steven Shemansky scored in his first game of the season for Carberry. Deloraine picked up the next 2 goals in the first period before Zane McConnell replied to make it 2-2. The Royals, however, would score 1 more just before the end of the opening period. Deloraine added 3 more before the end of the game to make the final 6-2. This recent defeat drops Carberry to 2-5-0 on the year. Their next action is set for Friday, December 1st in Killarney. The next home game will follow on Friday, December 8th versus Pilot Mound. Gladstone wins big in Wawanesa. After falling behind 2-0 on the road, the Gladstone Lakers went off for 10 consecutive goals, including 7 in the second period, leading to a 10-2 victory. The double-digit performance for Gladstone featured several significant nights for the roster, with Jordy Geddes and J.C. Kennedy leading the charge. Both those players had 4 points, 2G, 2A apiece. A half dozen other contributors secured the win for the Lakers, who improved to 4-2-0. Gladstone will play their next game at home on December 2nd when the Souris Elks come to town. Minnedosa blank Melita. Some late-game heroics from Shane Jury secured the Minnedosa Bombers a 2-0 win over the Melita Bisons. This closely contested game was scoreless until well over halfway through the third period, when Jury broke the stalemate. He'd add an empty netter with just 3 seconds left in regulation to make the final 2-0. Matt Saylor assisted on both scores, while Cale Hutlett was credited with a helper on the first goal. Devin Fordyce collected his 3rd win of the year with a 25-save shutout for the Bombers. Carberry Minor Hockey Weekend Review. I'm going to just read parts of this one. Carberry Under-7 Team C traveled to McGregor Saturday morning. The team skated hard, made some nice passes, and had plenty of puck touches. The Carberry under 11 were in Minnedosa this weekend in their first game on Saturday versus Minnesota. Ended with a 5-4 loss. The third game was played against Gladstone with an 11-1 win. Under 13 played in Verdun Sunday and lost 10-5. Be sure to come to the rink Saturday for Hockey Day in Carberry. Come for our breakfast and watch some action starting with under 7 at 9 a.m. as well as under 15 AAA Cougars game at 6:30 p.m. featuring Carberry's Jack Polesic and Gage Balsunius. Obituary. W. Ross Howard. It is with great sadness that we announce that W. Ross Howard passed away on November 16, 2023 in the Carberry Personal Care Home at the age of 86. Funeral service was held in the Neepawa Anglican United Church on Friday, November 24th, with Rita Friesen officiating. A private interment service was held prior to the funeral at the Arden Cemetery. Thank you to White's Funeral Hall for all the arrangements, and in lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba. Rob Kilburn, loving memory of them. And Ruth Reiner also passed away. Ruth Reiner passed away November 30th. Oh, Rob Kilburn. I guess this is just in memory of people that have passed away before. Okay, Rob Kilburn passed away December 3rd, 2017. Ruth Reiner, November 30th, 2022. Just in memoriam, in memory. Neepawa Area Health Auxiliary thanks you. The Neepawa Area Health Auxiliary would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to everyone who came to the annual fall coffee party and those who donated to the Rainbow Auction. Donations are accepted anytime with tax receipts issued, and donations can be sent to NAHA, Box 1461, Neepawa. Harris Pharmacy on December 2nd, they'll be closing at 2 p.m. So this Saturday, December 2nd, they will be closing at 2 p.m. And online auction December 1st to 7th. It's a major fundraiser of the Neepawa Rotary Club. There's a huge list of items here that you can bid on, and then a list of people who donated cash as well, businesses and people. Proceeds will go towards community projects. If you want to view these items online and to register to bid on the items, you can go to the Neepawa Neepawa.charity-auctions.ca. The bidding will start at 8 a.m. on Friday, December 1st. So tomorrow, you can bid on some of those things. You want to take a look at them. Neepawa Men's Shed finds new home at Touchwood by Casper Werhan. A 3-year search has come to an end for the Neepawa Men's Shed. In collaboration with the Neepawa's Touchwood Park Association, the mental wellness group now has a brand new home at the store owned by Touchwood, located at 296 Mountain Avenue. Colin McNerney, representative for the Neepawa Men's Shed, told the Banner and Press that they first contacted Touchwood about a possible collaboration 2 years ago. This was a busy time for the organization, and the inquiries weren't able to go further. However, this past summer, an agreement for the mutual benefit of both groups was able to be reached. McNary says, "We have always preferred to have a meeting place where members and the general public could easily walk to within town and not have to drive out to attend. We're very grateful for Touchwood's generosity." The Men's Shed was able to host their first meeting in early October, with the Touchwood store itself opening on November 10th. Some of our Shed members have been working on small woodworking items for Touchwood to finish, paint, and sell in the store at the front of the building, while others are using the meeting area to chat and visit, both of which are fundamental to Men's Shed objectives. The Neepawa Men's Shed meets every Monday and Thursday morning from 9:30 to 11:30, with all drop-ins welcome to have a coffee, chat, and learn more about the group. And the picture here is one of the Neepawa Men's Shed members is pictured hard at work on a project within the group's new space at the Touchwood store at 296 Mountain Avenue. And that concludes the reading of the December 1st edition of the Neepawa and Banner Press.